you think this is saying to you or maybe someone else this morning? Okay. Anyone want to share? Tom!
Well, I think it's kind of a scary thing that you found, or he gave you that verse, because that's about persecution in the end or something. But I guess it's something we got to look for, or that will start happening.
Okay.
You know, the time of trouble.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I think it has to do with what God has been trying to teach us since Genesis, to love. And if we learn to love, then we can accept the blood of Christ and know that it covers us. It won't matter when the end comes if we're dead or not.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, to continue Jenny's thought a little bit, we're so in love with Jesus that we'd rather die in Him than live in sin and under the authority of Satan.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm reading this the wrong way, but this was from a time period where it was a warrior culture, and in order to do your job then, except the fact you're already dead, it really doesn't matter, you go forth and do your job.
Yep. Do it no matter what. Okay. Yes.
It made me think about the times that I have succumbed to peer pressure and not fallen through. You know, I did not exactly give up my life. I kept my life because I kept the face the wrong way. You know, I denied Christ. That's what it reminded me of.
You have to stand up. Go on.
It's talking there about living a life of victory. And the way to do that, the way to move forward, and to be more in love with Jesus, is to testify how He has worked in your life.
Amen.
And if I'm meditating on that, then the rest of the junk goes on out here in this world does not matter. My life doesn't matter because He's going to give it back to me anyway.
Okay. Fair. Yes.
Well, what it says to me, it says you defeated Him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the testimony. It doesn't say anything about, going to church, about your works, or anything like that, anything that I can do. It takes it back to you have to rely entirely on God, especially like he was saying, in the end times, there's going to come a time where you are not going to be able to take care of yourself. You're going to have to rely 100% on God to even feed you. And that's what the verse says to me, that you need to stop trying to do it yourself and let God.
Okay. All right. Well, let's look a little bit more at the story. Revelation is divided up into kind of two sections if you don't know. First half of Revelation is history. It's about church history and what's happened in the church. The second end, starting at verse 13, kind of goes all the way through prophecy and what the church will be like in the future, kind of the days that we're living in and stuff. And verse 12 is sort of this pinnacle, sort of center of the two churches and how things go. And so we're looking at chapter 12, verse 7, and it says this. All right, there was war in heaven. All right, for some reason it stops and it just talks about this. All right, there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels were waging war with the dragon. Michael being, at least the thought is, Jesus, right? That's the thought, is that was Christ. The dragon is his angels and waged war. Someone talked about a battle, and people at that time would have understood that, and hopefully we do too also. We do also, with all the wars and stuff that's going on. They were not strong enough. And there was no longer a place found for them in heaven. All right? And the great dragon was thrown down, the serpent of old, who was called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. All right? So at some point, he's kind of Going down here, it seems pretty simple. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven. And this is where there's a big change, okay? Then I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, "Now salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come, for the accuser of our brother has been thrown down, who accuses them before our God day and night." Keep going. "And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their testimony. They did not love their life even when faced with death." Kind of historically, what this, at least I believe this refers to, is when Christ, I'll say Black Friday, that when he made the offering and the sacrifice, and the whole universe and the whole world could see that sin and all his problems and all the things that have happened were not God's fault, but they were Satan's fault. Okay? And at that point, for some reason, something happened. He's no longer allowed to accuse people, accuse God of anything, because now the salvation had finally come through Christ. And here's a bunch of people that have to deal with it. Right? Salvation came, there was a war, we lost, and now we get to deal with it. We get to live life every day where he's trying to do all those things, the things someone mentioned this morning. Be discouraged. Being discouraged. Getting our eyes off of him, whatever it might be. That's what he's out to do. He's just not coming in like some, at least at this point, he's not some big tyrant where we all can see him. He's just really sneaky. Really sneaky the way he does it. Okay? And that's what he's doing. And he's trying all the time. And the idea of overcoming, I like what one person said, is simply because of what Jesus did. Right? So that's it. The only reason we can overcome him, period, at all, is because of what Christ did. Yet, it kind of goes hand in hand, but then there was something that they were supposed to do with their lives because of what he did. And they're, it's just right there. You do what you have to do. Do what you're supposed to do. I think if I go on, can you keep going through that a little bit? Let's go to the next verse. And this is maybe stuff you already know, but this may be absolutely new to someone else. Again, I'm not wanting anyone to have their Thanksgiving destroyed or gone. Or the idea of being gracious to God and walking with him to be thwarted, because that's what he's all about doing. "For this reason rejoice, O heaven, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has only a short time." Okay?